I was just going to make a little quick video about some of the things with an old Kenworth air conditioning system. Ran into a lot of research trying to get this air conditioning right, and there was just things that were kind of confusing, misleading. It just felt like it was difficult to find everything at one place. So I'm going to try to make a video. That way, if anybody else ever runs into this issue, they can just kind of watch a video about how to get these old air conditionings up and running with little fuss. I have an old cable switch here to turn the compressor on and off. A lot of your newer style Kenworths, like even the newer A models, are electric switches in the dash. This here is actually a cable driven switch, and like pretty much everything for the heat and air conditioning is all done through cables. And found this switch here was a little bit harder to find, and it was just kind of like one of the little hurdles that I had to jump through to get this all working. Okay, so I got the cable on-off switch for the AC all hooked up, and we have key on power coming in here, and there's nothing there right now. You slide the cable switch over here on the dash, bloop, we got power coming in, and even without the power probe hooked up, you can hear it clicking on and off. So it is working off the cable, off the dash, and should be good to go. Here's the king valve on top of my compressor. These king valves are kind of neat. You screw these in and it will stop the Freon from flowing out of the hose, and you can only use this port, or you can screw it all the way out and use both, or you can put it in the middle where it blocks off the AC port for the machine and it only comes out the hose. That's where I have mine set right now. That way you're not putting, Freon's not coming up to the Schrader valve. Kind of keeps it more contained. These Schrader valves will leak sometimes. This is just an extra precaution that I choose to do. The high side's back here. The Freon comes out the high side, comes up through here, goes up through the condenser in the grill, comes out of the condenser in the grill, goes up to the air dryer, comes into the air dryer, and then right here is your low pressure switch. This is what comes out of the switch in the dash for the cable switch. Power in, power out. When you have pressure, that's what engages the compressor, and this will flow out of your dryer up into the expansion valve. I'll show you that in a minute, but it's a very simple how this works. Hopefully this helps a little bit. My truck only has the AC cab hooked up, so we got the inline, which is coming from the dryer I just showed you, and it comes into the expansion valve. This is an old school expansion valve. Goes into the evaporator and comes out of the evaporator. How this expansion valve works is actually kind of neat. Once it sees that it's freezing up inside, there's a little probe that goes inside the box, and once it sees that it's freezing up, it'll bypass a little bit of Freon over here into the return line. This is what heads back up to the pump. This is actually your low line that's going up to the compressor. So it's a very simple how this works. Here is the part number for the expansion valve from Napa. Here you go. And the expansion valve is pretty simple. Has old school compression fittings on it, not the new AC style fittings. So you can see how this all kind of looks. Just make sure when you're putting a new one of these on that you don't bend the line and pinch them off. They need to be able to flow gases. And then here is the air dryer. This particular air dryer, right there's the number, you can pause it, get the number, has actually an extra port on top which you can use or block off, but it's more of a universal air dryer. This will work in that slot. Couple quick tips. These fittings here are reusable. As you can see, you can screw them off of your line. You can reuse them, save some money. I'd recommend putting a new air dryer on whenever you take your system down. I did not know my system would come to life this quick. I regret not putting a new one on. I just cut a corner, and you can do that as well, but I highly recommend not. The other thing is your AC line should be blown out if you take your system down. It's amazing the oil and the dyes you'll find stuck in there. That'll help your system work a lot better. And the other thing I wanted to point out is when you suck your system down, let it suck down for like an hour or plus. I know people say you can get away with 30 minutes. Let it go as long as you possibly can. It dries your system out, and just keep that dryer running, the vacuum pulling as you are waiting. Go do something else. You will not regret that. It really helps the system dry a lot better. Last thing is, when you're filling the system, I had a friend show me this and it works amazing, that when these lines start to get frosty, you want to add just a little bit more Freon until they stop frosting. That right there is where you know you're in that tight little window that your AC is at the optimum level. My system's running about 160 psi. It seems to be doing great. I did hear that you do not want to go over 180, so just kind of keep that in mind if you don't have a scale. And I recommend just kind of feeling what your system wants. Like when you see the lines frosting, you know you're getting close. Just start going slow. Just add just a little bit more Freon until they stop. And if I actually do not see my system frosting up, I see them cold. And that's, to me, means the system is running right there on that great little ragged edge. That will do it for this video of an old Kenworth air conditioning system. If you found it useful, found it helpful, hit the like button, please. Just making some short, quick videos for people that to help a little bit. That if you're in my shoes, trying to figure out an old air conditioning system that's a thing of the past, not very many people know about them anymore. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll help you if I can. This should be pretty much uniform between any old air conditioning system. Hopefully it helps.